How about if we all stand up and we high five each other because we woke up? What do you feel about that? So we get a little bit of energy. I think we need to high five each other because we made it. We made it here, and it's important, and we are alive. So thank you. Thank you so much for indulging me with that. The clicker does not work. Do I need to do anything with the clicker? Switch it on. Yeah, that would be a good idea. All right. So yes, I'm based in Silicon Valley in San Francisco. I'm originally from Barcelona, Spain. And Multiplica is a small company. We are about 150 people spread around the world, as you can see. And we have been focused on user experience for the last 15 years, more or less. The reason why we started spreading around the world was basically because my partner, David Boronat, he has a very, I would say, a very special attribute. He loves to travel, and so do I. So this is not really strategic. It's basically places where he wanted to live, and basically places where I like to live. And since we created this company, the important part is this is my board of directors. These are my three daughters, Sarah, Sophia, and Julia. And they are basically the reason why I decided to go to Silicon Valley. All the rest is crap. No technology. It's only important what they think and how they move me to go there. But let's go to the title of the presentation. I had to tell Pep about, when was it, 5 months ago, what was I going to talk about? So I said, oh, let me give you just examples of things that are important to me. So I thought about examples and ideas that can bring you some inspiration, and hopefully you can take them home and get some value out of that, okay? So first things first, you guys have done tremendously well. Thanks to coming to this type of organizations and events, you transformed what we would have at the beginning, which were just regular websites, into transactional sites. I remember going to websites where I couldn't do anything at all. Then you focused on making them user-friendly, mobile-friendly, things like that. You even had the call to action. Can you guys remember when you went to an online experience and you didn't know what they asked you to do? So now you can do that. Testing helped you to figure out what the customer wanted instead of what you wanted to give them. And also we changed the paradigm of conversion rate optimization to growth rate optimization so that we know that we can always sell a lot of iPads for $10. So it's all about growth, it's not about conversion. Then the new era came about tools and all these tools and more tools and tools for everything. And now lately in Silicon Valley, everybody's talking about artificial intelligence and bots and things like that. So we're doing more or less fine, but the question is, what else can we do? And what else can we do considering, as Andre was saying, that people are actually different? So what we think makes sense is to define proactive digital experience. And let me explain to you a little bit what we think about proactivity. This is a framework that I came up with because the 4 Ps of marketing were a little bit outdated, so I had to think about a different letter. And then I thought, okay, so maybe R is a good letter. And I'm happy that one of the R's could also be used with Andres' last talk. So what we are thinking is that if you are relevant and responsive in terms of your digital experience, and you react to what people are asking, you can build relationships. So those are the 4 R's of what we call an experience, a framework of an experience that can actually drive you to get to a better digital experience, one that converts. And obviously, we have to take into consideration behavior, context, and journey. So since that is a framework, and that is kind of like the strategy and the big thing, let me tell you a little bit more about how to actually get there. So what we think is there are different elements that you could actually take a look at in order to make your site proactive. And these are 9 elements that we figured out, and hopefully you can get some ideas out of them. And I'll try to give you some practical examples of some of these elements that actually we are using. So context recognition and profiling, that is very obvious. So you have to understand who you're dealing with. Then you have the customization, segmentation, recommendation, and proactivity. So once you know who you're dealing with, then you need to figure out what it is that they want, how can I actually select them, how can I actually make the better recommendation, and then the proactivity of how can I actually talk to them in the way they are expecting me to talk. And then we have what we call prediction and synchronization, because it doesn't really matter if I'm talking to anybody, I really need to understand that what they are seeing in my mobile phone is the same thing that what they will see when they actually go to my desktop. So synchronizing that experience throughout the different platforms, throughout the different devices, makes a lot of sense for that proactive digital experience. So far, we have set up the framework. Now, let me give you some practical examples that inspired me, that I have seen lately. Some of them are touching some of these points, and hopefully they can give you some ideas. So this is my chatbot. This is Messenger. And who many of here are familiar with the movie 50 Shades of Grey? Good. So besides some of the women, some of the guys too. Well, 50 Shades of Women, you guys should read it, the book. It's a really fantastic book. I liked it very much. So basically, Christian Grey is this sexual, fantastic guy. He is so good looking, and he makes sex in very different ways. But basically, this company decided that they would create a chatbot with the persona of Christian Grey. It's ChatFuel. And basically, they started connecting the chatbot to women. And they got 150,000 women chatting with Christian Grey. So it was quite an impressive thing. So I thought, I'm going to try this thing out, and hopefully my wife doesn't think I'm gay. So besides grabbing my attention, this is the interaction that the chatbot is having with me. And as you can see, it's very direct. It's talking to me. And I thought, wow, this is really well done. So not only do they make it personal, but then they take you to the experience that you actually wanted. So from a chatbot, I'm actually driven to the place where I can actually take a look at the movie. I thought this was an interesting example. Another example that happened to me very recently, do you guys use Waze here? Waze is an app that helps you go through traffic. It should help you avoid traffic, which in San Francisco is quite incredible. But they also have this Waze pool. So if I say I'm going from here to there, somebody might jump on my car, and I'll take them along. But unfortunately, these guys made something really bad. They used my email, and they started emailing me shit and more shit. And I didn't complain. But all of a sudden, I had this email saying, we made a mistake, and here is the price. I'm sorry. Wow. So you're using something that you screwed up with to make something better. I think this is a good idea. Another problem that I have when I started living in the US is I move a lot. And you guys know that usually the US Postal Service or any postal service in any place in the world is probably the worst experience that you can actually have. And 90% of the times they lose everything that you want to get. But in the US, if you move for $1, you can actually send an email, and they'll change your address. And when you do that, all of a sudden you start getting emails and offers of things that are actually relevant to your move, to your context. I am moving, they know that, and they actually sat down, the postal office sat down with companies to figure out what are the things that I could actually use. Interesting. Proactivity. And I have to use Amazon because, as Andre was saying, Amazon is just incredible. They do so many things well, but I promise you I only have one slide of them. But this is basically my page in Amazon, and they have all these different ways to make me a better shopper, because they know that I have different personas. I have the dad persona, as you can see in the bottom, because I have a baby. But then I also have my browsing history. What is it that I'm looking for? I just moved, so I was looking for a couch. So they tell me what I was looking. Not only do they tell me when I was looking, this was yesterday, but also they tell me what I actually looked the last week and what I actually purchased. So they are helping me become a better shopper. They are being proactive in helping me become a better shopper. And this, it's a little bit difficult to see that, but that's where my Prime, my Fresh, my video, my music. So basically in one place, I can actually take a look at everything that I'm doing with them. They are actually helping me. And obviously, I'm going to spend more with them. And the bottom line is, you guys know every time you go to a supermarket, and at the end of the supermarket, they put the chocolates on the side, and they put all these magazines that nobody needs, but you always buy. Well, this is what they do too. They say, find interesting things, and you never want to go there, but whenever you go there, you actually buy. Because if you wouldn't buy, they wouldn't put it there. So quite an interesting proactive experience. Welling is a company that we worked with. We actually got some prices for the design and the work that we did for them. And what they do is, and this is not a logged-in experience, when I actually wanted to go from Barcelona to Rome, I looked it up, and then when I came back again to the website, it was there. So it was pre-populated. I didn't have to look it up again. So not only do I put it on the place where I'm searching the plane, but I also have it on the side as a banner. So you keep me focused. You keep me on task. Another example, which I really like, hopefully you can see that, American Express. This is, again, not a logged-in experience. And in this case, I was actually looking to get a credit card for my daughter. Because she's actually going on camp, and I wanted to know what credit cards allow you to put a limit, because she's 16, and you can imagine, credit card and no limit doesn't really factor well for me. So I go there, and all of a sudden I see that it says, your card, and I can add somebody to my card, or I can apply for a different card. Wow, so they actually know what card I have, so they're making me a better shopper because they are not allowing me to apply for a card that I already have. But they have changed the call to action, and they have put a call to action that actually is relevant to me, which is add someone to my account. Wow, so I don't have to get her a card. I can actually add her to my account. That sounds really cool. And they did all that. So I don't need to apply now. I can just decide to take the other call to action, and I'm just going to save some time, because then I don't have to go through all the approval process since she has no credit score. Credit score is something very, very important in the US. I'm not familiar if you guys know what that is. Basically, every single person in the US has a credit score, and this is a very complicated formula which factors in what you owe and how much credit you have. So Credit Karma is a very interesting site. What they do is they ask you certain types of things so that with the questions that they are asking you, they will be able to do better things for you. And not only do they do better things for you, but they also do better things that are actually comparable to people like you. So they, as in this case, they said people are answering the same thing that you are answering. But what really drew my attention was something that I found it was very interesting, which is here on the right-hand side, you can see what they call advertiser's disclosure. And usually on a site, you don't see something like that. But then I started reading it. And basically what they're telling you is, this is the way we make money. You tell us things, we make those calculations, then we look for the best credit card. And actually, that's the way we actually give it to you. And then when you get it, they pay us a commission. It's my business model. Well, that's cool. It's fine with me. So that actually prompts me to answer some more questions if you actually want to ask me some more questions. All right, X.AI. This is something that perhaps some of you know. This is a new company based out of Silicon Valley. And this is a company that is specifically created around facilitating meetings for people. So it's kind of like a personal assistant. So you put the email of a virtual person on the CC, and that person, or that artificial intelligence, will work out your meeting. So all those emails that you have to have with the client where the client says, no, I need to rearrange, I need to reschedule, or it doesn't work for me, you don't have to do anything at all. They do it. I've tried it. Actually, it's really awesome. You guys should try it. And it costs $39 a month. So what they do is they say, well, if you make $70,000 a year, this is the time that it would take you to schedule so many meetings. So comparatively, what you are making and what I cost you makes this a no-brainer. Interesting way of being proactive. This is an example of a company that we work with. It's called Celebrity Cruises. Well, here is the site of Royal Caribbean. And in this case, the proactivity comes when are people actually visiting the site. So again, all these experiences are non-logged in. This is the first time I go there, so what I really want to see is a discount, because you want to hook me. The second time I want to go, since I actually was browsing and I selected something, you better tell me what I had done before. Again, I'm not even logged in, but it says here, continue booking your 4-day Bahamas cruise. And you see the experience has completely changed, because now you don't have to tell me anymore about the 30%. Now you really need to lock me down. Don't get excited. I have much more to give you. So the third one, which is I already purchased the tickets. I already know what my cruise is. So now you're telling me really, really relevant things. So now you have to tell me what is it that I'm going to be doing when I do the cruise. So a cruise planner. So tell me all the things that we can do when I'm there. So it's only 196 days. So how many days do I have to plan? A shitload of days. And what I need to do is I need to figure out what will I do in terms of shore excursions, in terms of all the alcohol that I'm going to consume with you, and in terms of all the spa treatments that I will have to do to recover from all the alcohol that I'm drinking with you. So again, proactive experience that works for you and that helps you be a better shopper. This is in Spanish, but I thought it was a great example. This is an example of somebody who decided that if you have made a reservation, you should actually upgrade it for only $10. And I thought, wow, this is really brilliant. But then if you look at it, you wonder, where's the fucking difference? Why do they use the same picture? How can it be that they have this great idea and then they execute it so poorly? The only difference that I can see if I really, really look at is the name of the room. That's the reason why I don't want the upgrade, because I feel like I'm being cheated. So if the only thing that changes is the word suite for habitación, I'm really not compelled. So if you want to compel me, when I decided to come all the way from San Jose to Tallinn, and I started looking at pictures of what a wonderful experience would be like versus some experience that I could probably expect and project, that's the way you want to convince me to spend an additional $1,000 on top of my ticket, because I don't want to have that pain. I want to come here and I want to be relaxed. So hopefully these examples give you an idea of how we are doing in terms of the relevant, responsive, react, and relationships. Now, very briefly, what I think you need to do is how to get these things done. And the biggest challenge that I'm having with most of the organizations lately that I visit is they always focus on tools. But unfortunately, the tool landscape that you guys have is ridiculous. And if you take a look at the tool landscape that you have for optimization, personalization, and testing, is quite obnoxious. So most of you will say, well, to do all that, I'll just need more hands. I'll need more people. I need more staff. Okay. Let me give you some suggestions of what I have been doing with some of the teams that we have in my company and some of the advising that we do for people. And these 10 suggestions are simplistic, but I hope they can add some value to you. So if you have an organization, I urge you to make decisions, to decide. The biggest challenge that we see is when we go to an organization, people are just walking around and they're waiting to make a decision, and people get tired. The second thing, get everybody on board and make sure that they are supportive of the team. How many times have you seen a test project where half of the people say, I don't think it will work, the other half says, I think it will work. It doesn't matter. You're going for it. Once you're going for it, you got to go all in. If you have people on a voting structure, remember, if everybody has a vote, you will end with the lowest common denominator. And we can see that from the polls in recent countries. Another thing is, if you try to fail, do it so and do it at a very high speed. Always try to fail fast and recover even faster. Another element that I think is very helpful is experiential learning. You guys come from different companies, from different cities. Why do you not exchange people? Why don't you send somebody from your company to an agency for 2 weeks for free? Just call Pep, call me and say, I got somebody, they can learn that from you. I'll give it to you for free for 2 weeks or 2 months. I can assure you, much better than any type of learning that you're going to get. Diversity and team dynamics. If you are not focused on seeing how your team can actually perform better, you're really going to have an issue. So make sure that every time you have a team working together, you're also focused on the dynamics of the team, on making sure that they're actually bringing value together as a team collaboratively. Obviously, if you have goals and KPIs associated with your team, you just have to make sure that the optimization results are associated with the goals results of their actually performance evaluation. Because sometimes you see people that say, I just need to do 10 tests and then I'll get my bonus. And I say, well, it doesn't make sense. You should make tests that actually are valuable. And that also, all that means spend time and money making sure that your team is engaged. Because an engaged team actually will work much better than anything else. So my thinking is 80% of all the value that your team will create, all the value of your company will be around your team, not the tools, not the process, not anything else. So if you focus on your team, you will make sure that things will work. And this is a formula that actually has helped me a lot think about how to engage that team, which is basically, if you see here, the X of attitude is a multiplication. So no matter how much knowledge you have, no matter how much skill you have, if your team is not engaged, if they don't have the attitude, if they don't go out and every day they want to kill it, if they're not naturally curious, if they're not thinking about how can I do this better, you're not going to make a difference. And since that is 80% of the overall package of what you can do, it's going to be tough. So try to focus on what we call apprentice, learn by doing, take on new people on your organization, put them next to people that actually work, simplify the way you're doing things so that you can have what we call master artisans. And master artisans are not people that know a lot of tools. They are people that know their trade. They are people that are engaged. They love what they do, okay? So make sure that that happens to you. Thank you so much.